Okay, are we... You're live. I'm live. Hello. I'm early or late, depending on how you feel about it. And welcome to the Oscar predictions. Let me move this camera back. Oh, that's why you're like that. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds like I'm here. I am live, and I want to say hello to Austin Cornbread. I saw Marley up there. M. Blood T, Nathaniel Foga, Zane Powers, Jordan Salafalo. Everybody is here tonight. I know this is a different night, but I thought why not bookend it, because obviously my reaction is going to be next Monday. Let's send out the tweet. No one had to say anything. I thought I saw a Daniel Vasquez. Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you, Big Daddy Jim. Thanks. I feel like a dad in this room. Right. Well, I feel like always a dad. Hold on. Let's switch over. Hello, hello. Welcome. We're in the many sets, I guess. Lauren Jones, hello. Yes. So this is going to be a quick hour show. Basically, we're gonna do the predictions. We're gonna do we're gonna do the predictions. We're gonna do a few stories if I have time, and then I want to do questions, and then that's it. Unfortunately, just gonna make this quick. It's Jack Black. That'd be cool. Thank you. Yeah, it's growing. I might trim it back because it's hard with the mask and organizing this, but I quite like it. I'm into this. Sorry, I'm like going over this. There's always stuff to do at home. Okay, and it's a little. I feel a little different doing a show on a Monday. I do have an energy drink that we haven't done before. I want to preface that, but first off, sorry there's no stream in February. A lot of dumb health stuff, and we went on a trip, and there was just not a good time, and I was not going to do a good show, so that is what was going on, if anyone's wondering. But I felt like the content was good. Also, I know there was one week it was all shorts. That is just because I was off on a trip, and I could prepare that. So this is not a shorts channel. If you ever think, oh, is he going on a shorts channel? It's probably because I had too much going on that week and I prepared for it. So that's a big deal. Hello, Big, the Restless Metal Punk. Holy shit. You won the thing there. But other than that, I'm making a lot of stuff I made. The trip was good. Thank you, Austin. The trip was very good. I went to New Orleans. I think there'll be a trip video. I need to figure out the month videos. But this is Oscar week. So we're doing all sorts of cool stuff. I did have a very productive day last week with the cartoon, which those take forever. And there's a comic I got in New Orleans, which I wanted to spotlight. I'll do that on the next stream. Indie Spirit Awards reaction. I mean, I have a thing with the Indie Spirit Awards. I don't know if you knew. We had a Twitter thing about almost 10 years ago now where I was dissing them and they responded to me and we had like a long back and forth. I may have told this story before, but and I still stand by it because they used to be really cool in the 90s and they'd give movies that didn't normally get Oscar nominations attention, and now they just don't fucking do that. It's just like, hey, it's the Oscars, but a little different, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't know. I remember when they spent the whole show just giving Memento awards because Memento got like one Oscar nomination. So very different vibe. Anyway, I'm trying to think what else before I get into this. If you're not into, the reason I make these kind of separate than Movie Crap Lives is because I understand there's some people who are like, what is it? Is Oscar and Vet a whole week dedicated? That's funny. What was it? Oh yeah. So reading these, man, I miss doing. I love doing these. These are always so much fun. I gotta say. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, but let's just do the usual streamy things before we get fully into it. First off, this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans. To be honest, that's it. Through Patreon or through Super Chats. When I will show off I'm not gonna show off the energy drink. You gotta do Super Chat for that. And I'll drink energy drink and read your question. It helps me do all sorts of cool stuff. Helps me do stickers to publicize this channel, which has actually been helping. There's a ton of stickers actually up in fucking New Orleans in front of 2 different comic book shops and a record store. I'll talk about that maybe when I might do a regular stream of just news and we'll talk about that. Hey, William Ellman, how the fuck I need to respond to you, but how the fuck are you doing, man? But you help me support the channel. You help me advertise the channel. It really goes to growing the channel, and I thank you all very much for that. If you're financially able to do so, I appreciate you. Get all sorts of things like postcards, commentaries, more power in the movie review vote, and you get to know how the vote went and all that cool stuff. As well as I have the Discord. If you never get to be here, and I know I'm streaming on a different day, and are always like, the chat seems really cool and nice, I'd like to hang out with them. Most of the chat hangs out on the Discord. They have movie nights. I think they're doing the Muppets right now on Fridays. There's an Ask Jim channel, which I do get to. It sometimes takes me a little bit, but I do try to answer all of those. There's a novelty playing card channel. There's all sorts of cool stuff. It is a really great community, and Austin St. Powers did an amazing job. Oh, they are going through that. Minus the holiday ones, but they did 1979. We just went to the Museum of Moving Image. I do have a lot to tell you guys, but we need to get on. Anyway, if you also want to follow me on everything still on Tumblr. I'm on Instagram, both personal and video. And I also, the other thing is my TikTok. I had literally the biggest thing I've made by myself ever, I guess. With Michael B. Jordan, almost got casting, crossed 100,000. So that's amazing. So if you're not following me on TikTok, it was honestly really cool. But then I put how I wanted to open the Oscars, so I'm sure none of my goodwill lasted after that. But you should still check that out. That was really cool. And Twitter and all that stuff. Yeah. Oh, also, Cornbread makes thumbnails for normal movie craps. He tries to guess the thumbnails, and that's actually really cool. I do not have a 4chan. Nice with St. Powers. All right, let's get into it. And I think this is probably a thing that most people would say, hey, don't say that during your stream about Oscar predictions. But I'm going to be real honest. This is not the most exciting. I'm going to drink my water because I can't get out you can't see what the energy. It's not The Rock. I'm going to get The Rock. Actually, I might do Red Bull in the wine glass again for that. But also, Discord is 3 years old from February 20. Austin, before I reveal this, I want to ask, separate from this, was that February 2020? That was 2020. Oh my God. That's how new the Discord was in 2020. Jesus. Sometimes memories 2020, I was like, it's all coming back to you and you're like, did that all fucking happen? Anyway, this is the accelerator. I got the cherry limeade here. Here we go. And I found it at my grocery store on a whim. Please do not explode everywhere. I don't want to clean this shit up. Oh man. Okay. We're okay. Okay. Here we go. Cheers to you. Not bad. I don't feel accelerated yet. I'll take another sip just for Austin in 3 years. That is insane. If you had asked me, I thought it started at the end of 2019. That is insane. How close to lockdown that was. I'm a little shocked. To be honest with you. Do I look a little too dark? Should I bring up? I feel like you should bring up the lights. I look like I'm in Spookyville. Give me 1 second. Unless I'm wrong. Okay. That looks too much. I'm not getting up again. All right. That looks fine. Okay. Probably could go down, but we're not going to do lighting things. Okay. So, I understand some of you just want to hear a few categories. I'm mainly going in reverse order from Wikipedia, and I'm not doing shorts. The shorts thing is like nothing I always just randomly pick those. I do not understand how the shorts campaigning works whatsoever. I will say I will do My Year of Dicks. That review is coming out this year, and I reviewed 2 of the others. So pretty good. But let's get into it. Okay. Back to before I get it. So there's not a lot of surprises this year. This is much more of a coronation year than we saw in previous years. To the point that it's even, I have nothing against these movies that are winning, and I love Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I will finally have a review at this week. But at the same time, it's like, how often are we going to be like just seeing the same people win awards over and over again? It's same with like, I love Abbott Elementary. I watch it every week. I talk to my friends about it. But like, what are we doing by awarding the same fucking thing over and over again? And it gets a little boring, and I think it's sort of by default made a lot of this not as exciting. So I apologize for that, but there's kind of nothing I can do. It is what it is, basically. But we're just going to go through it. There's a couple categories that are interesting. I will highlight those when we come to them. But I think most of you know this already. I don't actually like being right for the Oscars. I mostly am. But I would prefer if I was wrong, because that would be more exciting for me watching it. So, but I'm usually pretty right, and I think these are good picks. Everything like that. So, but if you were here to just get what you needed for like animated feature visual effects, I'll do those first, and then I'll just kind of list them off. There will be timestamps later, but that might take me an hour or so. So if you're watching this the day it streams, cut me some slack. It should be okay though, if you're just looking for certain things. All right. I did not actually see everything, by the way. I didn't see All Quiet on the Western Front, which I'm sort of regretting, because when I was going through, I was like, oh, this might win some shit. All right. Best Animated Feature. Let's be real about this. This is Del Toro's award to lose. I don't really see anyone else winning this, like, whatsoever. It is not really up for any sense of debate. I mean, it's like, yeah, maybe Marcel the Shell, maybe Puss in Boots, sure, Turning Red, Sea Beast. It's nice that you showed up, but it's Pinocchio. Here's one of the things about this. Then, like, I'm not trying to belittle directors who like aren't as big of names, but the reason they put Del Toro's name on that, because it'll fucking win awards and it'll get more critical acclaim and it'll be discovered in this thing. That's why he didn't have a co-director with the other guy, because that would have been too long, and it just simplifies it and he gets it in. I'm not saying anything else, but Netflix knew what they were doing to win Best Animated Feature. It seems like Del Toro is very serious and is going to move more into animation. It is a masterpiece. I think Marcel the Shell is maybe and Turning Red are all really great movies. I haven't seen Puss in Boots. I'm going to do reviews of both of those. It's been a weird beginning of the year for me, but I do think Pinocchio is going to win this. I'm going to say Best Animated Feature will go to Pinocchio. Which would be Guillermo del Toro and is it the other director? Yeah, Mark Gerferson and 2 other dudes. So yeah, but let's move on to what is at the bottom of the Wikipedia for this. For this Oscar thing is Best Visual Effects. This is another one that seems plainly obvious to me. That's true. That's true, Marley, or Tricky Kappa. Sorry. He has been pushing it, but yeah, he's doing a much better job than Tim Burton did. Let's just say that right now. But Best Visual Effects, I don't see this going to anyone who's not Avatar: The Way of Water. There's other things nominated, like Black Panther, which I think has a shot. All Quiet on the Western Front, which I think has a shot. Black Panther, or Wakanda Forever, whichever we're going to call it, sort of, I think all the bad press about Marvel and visual effects definitely is hurting this film's chances in that category. But also, like, look at the effects in Avatar. Like, they made Sigourney Weaver a 12-year-old. Like, and you're totally, like, believing all this like, you never question it. Like, the effects and how they made HFR something I actually wanted to, like, and I bought that ticket by accident. And I was okay with, and I think a lot of people were, and I think most people look at Avatar as a technical treatment, basically. So I just think this is Avatar's award to lose. No one did what Avatar did this year. They're just going to let this one go to Avatar: The Way of Water. I think it is probably most likely the only award it wins. I would say pretty much without without question. I just don't see that going any other way. Best editing. Now, best editing is actually considered a big award. I'm not joking about this. Or best film editing, if you want to be technical. Because some people consider that if there were 5 nominees, these would be the 5 nominees, which is Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. That's the theory people have. Where do they get that from? I don't know. Usually they nominate something that wouldn't, like at least one thing that wouldn't get Best Picture. But it's very hard to win Best Picture without Best Editing. Not necessarily that hard, but that's what people always say. So you have... but the thing is about this is Top Gun. I think Top Gun should have been nominated in different categories, and we'll get into that when we get to those. But I know there's a lot of love for Top Gun, and I know there's a lot of love for Elvis. But let's be real here. Like I think the film that used editing to an extreme and to its visual style and to tell its story is Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that is going to be one of the part of the sweep of this whole thing. And I just don't see it going to anything else. I do think, like, yeah, people are bringing up Elvis. I can sort of see it. I can sort of see Top Gun. But Tar and Banshees, I don't know what Banshees is fucking doing in here, to be perfectly honest with you. But I like that movie, but I'm like, I don't know if I would go that route. But Elvis might get... Did I put Elvis in? I don't know if I put Elvis in anything. We'll see. Best costume design. All right. We got to get through these quick. Best costume design, I went with Ruth Carter for... See how I did that? So now you're confused. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I think the thing is with that is it is not just that it is a unique... I will get to the Bohemian Rhapsody thing, Austin. That leads into one of my predictions, actually. And there's a whole thing I have about that, actually. So we will get to that, actually. If you saw me on Twitter... Anyway, we'll get into it. I have some things, and it'll lead into something. But best costume design, I think even though in this category you don't have things like Avatar, for example, but you have Babylon, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Congrats. I think Wakanda Forever is a unique world. Wakanda is very unique in what it's doing. You also had everything going on with Namor. You had these very unique, different kind of costumes. They are not. There's no like. The thing is, like, there's certain parts of this that look like Marvel movie. Hello, Dustin and friends. But then the other part of it is it looks like it's its own unique thing. She won last time. I do think there's a lot of love for Wakanda Forever, and this goes into the Bohemian Rhapsody thing because it was such a weird shoot, and I kind of think it's like a thing they gave last time. So I just feel like it's going to go that way, and I don't think the other ones are as interesting or as magnificent as that is, and there's no period shit in here. I mean, the period shit is Elvis and Babylon, which is not the period shit they usually freak out about. So, and I think like Ruth Carter won before, it makes sense, and it does feel like they do really like Wakanda Forever. Like I think Wakanda Forever is very close to getting a Best Picture. I really do. So, best makeup and hairstyling. This one we can go through quickly because I'm going to be honest. Oh, thank you, Cornbread. No, I actually got... I'll get into that in a second. Makeup and hairstyling, I think this is going to The Whale because of what it did to Brendan Fraser. I can sort of understand how people seeing The Batman, but I think The Whale is like more of an Oscar movie. It was more of a thing. It's all... They've been pushing The Whale for makeup and stuff for a little bit, and I just see it really working... I have not seen Triangle of Sadness, but I am actually William Elman, but I am curious why it didn't get anything. Sorry, I'm like blowing through these here. Let me get some water. That accelerator thing was pretty good. But I can sort of see Batman. I can sort of see Elvis, but I think The Whale has the best chance. I could see Elvis taking it, but I'm going to go with The Whale. So best cinematography. Sorry, I'm blowing through these. I just want to make sure I got them all in there. Best cinematography is the weirdest category because of the nominees. I want to read them off because when you look at Best Picture, you think of how this is the quote unquote Everything Everywhere All at Once year, or the Fablemans, or all these things. This doesn't make a lot of sense, and I think it's one of the weirdest categories I've seen this year, where you have the nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front. That makes sense. Bardo, False Chronicle of a Heart Full of Truths, Elvis, Empire of Light, and Tar. It's weird for just like the main things just not getting nominated in this. So you kind of have this weird category here, and I kind of think you're really between. Bardo doesn't have a fucking chance in hell. Empire of Light, which is shot by Roger Deakins, does because it's Deakins, but they've given Deakins too, so I think their sympathy for him is like sort of gone at this point. So then you have Elvis for Mandy Walker, who'd be is it the first woman to ever win, I believe? Tar and All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm sort of the thing about Best Cinematography, I'm sort of thinking there is a chance that Elvis could win. Well, we'll see about. I don't know about the Fables, Marley. I don't know. But I'm going to go with All Quiet on the Western Front. It is an epic movie. They gave it a ton of nominations. Part of me was thinking Tar. I think Elvis is the only thing that could upset it because that would mean the first woman to ever win for cinematography. They did not make that a big enough deal in the lead up to the Oscars. And that was a huge mistake because I didn't even realize that until a week ago before I did this. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't know, guys. I think that was a stupid fucking move. So they should have been pushing that further. But I think it's sort of between like those things. But I think All Quiet on the Western Front because they love awarding big war movies. But that's who I'm going with. I'm sort of with M. Blood T. A couple people are saying Tar. I don't know. I'm sort of with you on Tar, but I think like they're dumb with their cinematography. They like the epicness. So I think it's I'm going to go with that, but I don't disrespect. I'm sort of agreeing with you that that's a huge possibility. Best production design. I know everyone's excited. Calm down. Chat, calm down. Best production design. I am also going to go with All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't think between the other nominees, which is the Fablemans, which like, sure guys, Elvis, which maybe, Babylon, Avatar, and then All Quiet on the Western Front, it's gotten a ton of nominations. I just think it's like the kind of thing they would normally go for. Part of me wants to go with Avatar, part of me wants to go with that, but I just think like they're just going to give it to a bunch of this movie. I don't think this is going to win Best Picture, but I think they're going to do that. Best Sound, I do think between All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun, I do actually think they're going to go with Elvis. I don't think it was like the best mixed. I think it sounds like you're getting hit with a billion fucking music at once. It's just like awful. But I do think they'll probably go with Elvis in that category. It's a main thing that people, take away from it. His name's Elvis in it. I think that's probably the only thing Elvis has a chance with winning. Most likely. If not that, then maybe Top Gun. But we'll see. All right, so next up, Best Song. This is an interesting one. Ryan Coogler got a nomination for Lift Me Up, the Rihanna song, as well as Rihanna did. And his second nomination, because his first was for producing Judas and the Black Messiah, and the second is for writing a song, which is super weird that's how Ryan Coogler's Oscar nominations are. That's anyway. You have This Is a Life, David Byrne's nominated, by the way. You have Hold My Hand. I'm distinctly leaving something out. And Applause from Tell It Like a Woman. I don't know. It's not to. I just don't see how you don't do that. There's a lot of love for RRR. This is the only thing that it is nominated for. But I just feel like everyone's going to funnel into that. It is being performed. It is not being performed by the stars. It's being performed by other people, unfortunately. I don't think you could because, like I said in that jokey, how I would open the Oscars thing, It is a thing of filmmaking. It is not something anyone could physically do in their entire lives. Although I do think someone should come out and do this suspenders thing. Like that was a viral, like huge hit in India. So like I'm a little like, just do that at least. Like come out and do that. You should do that. But like the whole thing, like I don't know if anyone could like live through that. I don't know. I just, yeah, I think Natu is going to win. So best original score. That is an interesting thing about Marley brings up that Crawdads Taylor Swift song. They didn't nominate that, and that was kind of one of the selling points of that movie. That is a interesting movie. Creed was nominated, Austin, because it was nominated for Stallone. Was it just Stallone? I think it didn't not. It should have gone to cinematography. But best original score. Here's where we're starting to get into the Everything Everywhere All at Once thing. Which the thing is, you have All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, which is a decent score, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fabelmans, which is John Williams. I think one of the things that's holding back The Fabelmans is these people have a ton of Oscars, like Williams, and it wasn't the best Williams score. I think I'm going to be honest. I think it's Sunlux with Everything Everywhere All at Once. People remember that score. It's a major driver of the film. It's one of the things that people really love about the film. I just think it's going to win. So I'm not going to get into Best Animated Shorts, although I saw The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, and My Year of Dicks. I could not find the other two, and I don't think I'll have enough time to review them, unfortunately. But if you can see those three, they're really good, so I recommend you do. I don't know which one I would go with because they're all so different. So let's do Best Documentary Feature. I'm going to admit, I don't really know what I'm doing here because I have not seen any of them. However, I will say this. Fire of Love, I've seen more publicity for than any of the others. However, I also understand Best Documentary Feature is a weird category and sometimes they just go with whatever. But I think one thing that comes up, I'm going to say a lot with these, is the availability of some of these through streaming does help because they do have a way to watch any movie if you're an Oscar voter, but having it like just there on Disney Plus readily available, I think makes a huge difference. And this has been in the tiles for Disney Plus all of the nomination season, all through voting. I've seen ads on like my cable. They're really selling Fire of Love. I just don't see. I haven't seen any publicity for any of this other shit. So it's just gonna be that. Best International Feature. This is also a pretty easy one to figure out because you have The Quiet Girl from Ireland, EO from Poland, Close from Belgium, Argentina 1985 from Argentina, crazy, and All Quiet on the Western Front from Germany. All Quiet on the Western Front has a ton of other nominations to other categories and a Best Picture. It's pretty much solid logic. If you do that, you win Best International Feature Film, which used to be Best Foreign Film, but we don't call it that anymore. So that is going to win. That's not a question. All Quiet on the Western Front's going to come down with some shit. There's just no way about it. So now let's get into the real things. And this was a good movie year. I see a lot of people saying like there's a lot of good movies. This was a good movie year. We were very lucky to have so many good blockbusters, so many good smaller movies, like so many movies to talk about. I think it's been a really cool, healthy movie year. I'm excited for just this month. We have like so many big things, so it's pretty wild in that front. But Best Adapted. I think this is a little more open because you don't have too many of the bigger like Oscar films up as much because you have All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Living, which is based on Kurosawa's Akira, by the way, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. I think based on the WGA, I'm actually going to go with Women Talking because it did get a few nominations. It does have a lot of love for it. I do not see them giving in a screenplay to Top Gun. Although Christopher McQuarrie already has an Oscar before you go. But Christopher McQuarrie, like he won for Usual Suspects. I don't see them giving it to Rian Johnson. And I actually don't see them doing it for All Quiet on the Western Front, to be honest with you. I think Women Talking, like, we give the one award to Sarah Polley. She's acclaimed enough. This would be a great gesture, I think. And they did nominate for Best Picture. And I've heard, I think some people, I don't know, they do like All Quiet on the Western Front, but they've heard Women Talking, I've heard so much about it. I just don't see them not doing it. And it's playing in so many theaters. And the WGA win, I think, says a lot about how people see it. I know the main thing of actors, of the Academy are actors, but I still think Women Talking will probably win. Best Original Screenplay is a tougher one because you have Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. Tar and Triangle of Sadness you can just take out of this because they're not going to win. You just have Fabelmans, Everything Everywhere, and Banshees of Inisherin. I really think this is the sort of... What I think could happen here is two things. I think you could see, because the Daniels and Spielberg are up against each other, I think what has a major thing that's going to happen is they might go original screenplay for the Daniels as best director, but they might just go, why don't we just give this original screenplay? Because it is the kind of film that used to win original screenplay. So I just think they're going to give it to them here because I think there is a little more support for somebody else in best director. And I think they're probably like, you can just have this. You've gotten an Oscar. You're Oscar winning to a point. So you like, leave us alone. I guess in a sense. So best supporting actress. This is the only one. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the thing with Bohemian Rhapsody, but I want to go through everyone. We have Angela Bassett, Hong Chow, I believe, from The Whale, Carrie Condon from Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis from Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Hsu from Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is between three people: Jamie Lee Curtis, Stephanie Hsu, and Angela Bassett. The thing is I was really thinking, because Jamie Lee Curtis did win at SAG, and there's a lot of support for her. There's also a lot of support for Angela Bassett. I also think what works for Jamie Lee Curtis is, when will she be ever nominated again? And her filmography has aged like a fine wine, to be honest with you. You have Halloween in there. You have Trading Places. You have A Fish Called Wanda. There's a True Lies show on TV right now. Her filmography has legacy, and it would cap off a very good long career. However, Angela Bassett. She should have won an Oscar at this point. I think that clip is insane. She was good in it, and she held together a movie that was falling apart, and it was a hard production. Almost everyone agrees with that. And I get that Stephanie Hsu is really good. I just don't think the Oscars are thinking that with supporting, and there's too much legacy. She is really good. She might have done the better performance of everyone in this list, to be perfectly honest with you. It's not really about that. The Oscars aren't about like who is actually the best, you know what I mean? But I think what happened with Bohemian Rhapsody, that didn't win because it had good editing. It's like, everyone who says that can shut the fuck up, because I put out a tweet. It was like, I always heard he won. This was a difficult production. He brought it all together, and he made this like huge, he made sure the movie could be delivered on time and released. And so that's why he won. And they like freaked out when he won. They like clapped and stuff, because people who work in the industry understand that. And actually, when I tweeted that, I got a bunch of DMs from people who do work in the industry, and they're like, that's what I heard about. That's what I heard. That's what I've heard about him. And like dragging this guy through the mud who, like, he didn't shoot it. Like, he had to make it work somehow. And I don't think the editing was particularly good, but it's almost like not about that. And I think when you figure that into this, like the production design, you're not really thinking about Chadwick. But Angela Bassett and Lupita and, everybody else had to make that film work. And I think there's a lot of sympathy for that movie and a lot of love for that movie. And I sort of think Angela Bassett will win based on that. I think it's either her or Jamie Lee Curtis. If Stephanie Hsu wins, I'm like totally here for it. These are not like my critical opinions, by the way. These are my opinions on an awards and how they work. But I think it's going to be Angela Bassett because she has too much going for her. And as much as people are like, Marvel's down right now, there's still sympathy for that movie. Disney Plus was pushing that movie like crazy. I don't see it going I think that's how it's going to go. But I had Jamie Lee Curtis yesterday and I changed it. So I think this is the only interesting acting category completely right now. But Bohemian Rhapsody, when you see people post that, it is more because of what that guy did for the studio, the long hours he did to save that movie. It is actually not because it's good editing. And that's always what I've heard. And any industry person has confirmed it. No one says you're full of shit, man. And they would. So, and it's also, by the way, one thing I find interesting about Wakanda Forever, why didn't they sell it as like it's an all-female cast pretty much? So I want to get through these because I want to do some questions. And I want to keep this an hour because I like to sleep sometimes. I'm sure my wife wants to go to bed and all that stuff. All right, so best supporting actor. This is, I forgot who else was nominated because Kiwi Kwan has done such a great job campaigning for this. I do not see this going to anyone else at all. And I just, he's going to win. There's just no question in my mind. Brendan Gleeson's nominated. He's got his first nomination. Brian Tyree Henry, Judd Hirsch, Barry Keoghan. But I just think it goes to Kiwi Kwan. I don't think there's a question about that. There's no, that's happening. So best actress is a little more interesting. But it's basically down to Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett. I think there's some support for Andrea Riseborough, but I think like most of that was when the nominations happened, not when, not at this point. You know, it was a conversation piece for getting nominations, but I just don't see her winning. More because she was not as big of a name as everyone else is in here, and she got in, and that's cool. And I hope she gets another big role after this, actually. And I hope other people use it for that thing. I have nothing against her. To be honest, I think she just came up with a good marketing strategy. But between Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh, Cate Blanchett has won twice. All right? She's won twice. The Oscars have leaned far more international than they ever have. She's a global superstar. It would be a huge deal if she won. And she's fucking Michelle Yeoh. This probably will not, I think most people also understand this might not ever happen again. I'm not trying to criticize her acting, just like the project she ends up being in. It doesn't work out, all right? And I think this is her time. I don't see it going to anyone else. I think it is the smartest move for the Academy, and it would be an amazing moment. I also think Jackie Chan should give her the award. But that's my own personal... If you saw the video I put out last, you know my feelings on it. Anyway, it's going to be Michelle Yeoh. I don't see it going any other way. Best Actor, again, I think this is pretty locked up. I think it's Brendan Fraser for The Whale. Some people are saying Austin Butler. I think he is too young. I just think he's too young. And I think a lot of people... He's really campaigned like Elvis is his role, but like... I'm almost like Brendan Fraser has always had an interesting filmography. He's also making a comeback. He's also doing a Scorsese thing next year. He's really primed. He's done really thoughtful, nice interviews. He's been through a lot. I think when I heard the what WTF happened to Brendan Fraser, the Joe Blow video, I almost like cried. Like it's just like it just like there's so much to him. There's so much he's been through. Let's let this happen. I understand Paul Mescal, but Paul Mescal, a lot of these guys are just like, good for you. You're nominated. I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but it's just not happening. So I just don't. Paul Mescal, it's like he's got a career booming right now. The nomination's great for him, but same with Colin Farrell. I thought was really great actually, and I wish he was more in contention. But I think it's Brendan Fraser's to lose at this point. So we have two categories left: Best Director, Best Picture. I'm torn on this one because I think we have the Daniels and we have Steven Spielberg. We also have Todd Field, Ruben Östlund, I guess, from Triangle of Sadness, and Martin McDonagh. I am surprised All Quiet on the West Front didn't get in here, now that I'm thinking about it. I also surprised, going back, that Top Gun actually didn't get a Best Cinematography. That's weird, since that was a big reason people saw it in IMAX, but whatever. We're really between Spielberg and the Daniels. I'm still thinking it could go to the Daniels. However, I do also think that they could look at this as, we give the Daniels screenplay, We give Spielberg director. Spielberg gets his 3. He's second to John Ford, who has 4, by the way. And we've locked that up. He put an Oscar-worthy movie, since people give a shit about that shit, 2 years in a row. He's Steven Spielberg. Just let him have his 3. And I sort of get that in there, but I'm also a little like Everything Everywhere All at Once is sort of a director's movie, and a writer-director's movie. So I'm more inclined to say the Daniels, but I'm a little partial to thinking they might give it to Spielberg. The other guys, I'm good for them. They're nominated and stuff. I'll list off Best Picture, and then we'll just do and then I'll tell you Best Picture. But we have All Quiet on the Western Front. This is alphabetical. Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. I think you know what it's going to be, and that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. There hasn't been a more consistent winner throughout this whole award season. There's so much love for it. It hasn't gone away. If you rewatch it, it's still a really good movie. And I just don't see it happening any other way. So I think it's going to be a very heavy on Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that's obvious how that's going to go. And that is pretty much it. Should RRR been nominated? Fuck yes. I think that was a mistake. But yeah, I think it's going to be heavy on Everything Everywhere. I think All Quiet's going to walk away with a bunch of stuff. Everything else is going to be 1 and 1 and 1 over here. But yeah, it's going to be heavy on that. I'm still, part of me thinks Spielberg still might win for Best Director, because would this be the last time you can nominate him? I think, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of Everything Everywhere All at Once, which also is sort of why I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis, Stephanie Shu will win Best Supporting Actress, because they might be like, we're giving this movie a lot, and it is strange for them. It is strange, but I still think the support is too strong. So we'll see. I wouldn't mind being wrong. I hope in a way that I like, and not in a way that I'm like, fuck. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, sorry to Tar. I just think it's a little not 100% their speed. But let's move on to questions. I have one question. And by the way, I fully expect the problem with the Oscars is, and any award show, is if you have an award show where something spontaneous happens, the logic is, and it always happens, the next award show sucks. Like every time. I'm going to drink Accelerate. I know I haven't. Anyway. That's okay. Oh, but I know I didn't get a super chat. I just wanted to accelerate myself. Anyway, I don't have too high hopes, but of Jimmy Kimmel or anything else. I'm curious about how they're going to do not to. That's about it. I don't know. I'm going to be drinking and tweeting, and then I'll put on a text the next day. That's how it'll be. All right, let's do some questions for the next 15 minutes. But I have one from Austin. It said, Austin, what a great show, Jim. I wish I had a funny thing to say like I usually do. Expect to remind folks that it's daylight savings next week, which means that technically the Oscars will be 1 hour shorter. My question, do you think there will be a heavy security for people coming up on stage? Because last year Will walked right up to the stage as what happened to the Game Awards. Oh yeah, that's true. Do you think this year they tighten security? That's a good question, actually. I do think they're gonna reevaluate a lot of stuff, and I do think there'll be a lot of jokes and questions about it. I think they'll have people like you can't see them, but yeah, I think probably they will. Zane Powers, would you be down if they only gave one award per movie? Yeah, I would actually. I think that would be a little healthier. That is one thing I'm starting to dislike about the kind of coronation element of these things, is like, we need to spread, because a lot of people will go, oh, this won this, I'll go see it. And if we had more movies, maybe people would see more of these movies, I think, and like spread the love, you know what I mean? Question, have you made any plans for the energy drink in the wine glass for the next stream? Planned this at the start of the show, but you kind of answered it. I'm going to bring back the classic Red Bull for the for that one. I think it deserves to come back. I thought about the right, but I think it deserves to come back for that one. Not plausible. How many Will Smith jokes will they make? I think Jimmy Kimmel will make a lot. I think other people will make some. I'm curious how many they will, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna be annoying. I hope not too bad. I also think part of me thinks Chris Rock did the comedy special when he did to take all the air out of the room from doing it. So maybe people will be like, what am I going to say after Chris Rock said it? Part of me thinks that was part of the plan, but we'll see. What would be the equivalent of a Green Book Best Picture this year? Good question. I don't think there's anything. I'm not the biggest fan of Elvis, but I don't think there is one that's as bad as that one. I don't think so. Maybe The Fablemans. Because I didn't like that. I think that would be a little surprising. I think people would be disappointed, actually, now that I think about it. I closed the window that had everything on, so that's what I remember, at least. Nathaniel Fogo, when was the first time you watched the Oscars? That is a good question. I think it was the year celebrating 96, and I got to watch some of it. And the first one I watched from beginning... No, I didn't even get to watch the Titanic year. It was like 98. Or the one that happened in 99 with Roberto Benigni and Gwyneth Paltrow. That's the first one I could watch from beginning to end. But before that, I could watch it, and then my dad was like, why are you still up? And I was like, damn it. Why did I say I needed water? Fuck. Lauren Jones, question, did you hear about Scooby-Doo? Oh, I wanted to talk about a few stories. You know what? Let's just make this an Oscar thing. But by the way, before I get to this, Lauren Jones, if you didn't know, like, April O'Neil has been black in, like, a show that just came out, you're not a Ninja Turtles fan. Like, go shut the fuck up. Like, it happened in the comics. It happened in literally a show that just ended, that had a big movie on Netflix, and you're telling me you're a fan of the Ninja Turtles? Like, that I'm supposed to take you seriously as a Ninja Turtles fan? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, that, no. No, you're not pulling this out when a big movie trailer. To me, that's not a real Ninja Turtles fan. You're like, you're a fair weather, I show up for the movies. If that's you, then, like, your opinion, I don't like to be gatekeeping and stuff, but if you're going to be racist and creepy, then I am going to pull that. And, like, you don't get to complain. This has already been going on. This started from the origin. It happened in the last one. If you had real feelings about it, you would have made it known earlier, but you're just trying to be an awful racist and get attention and be stupid. So you don't really know the property you're talking about, and you're not coming from a place of any intelligence and shouldn't be talking about it. But question, did you hear about Scooby-Doo and the Crypto 2 leaking? What other WB Discovery cancellations do you hope will get leaked? Batgirl. And I have a feeling something will happen with that. I just don't think they can hide that for too much longer. Tricky Cabo, they already said, there's going to be a crisis team. I hope that's not true. Question, do you think will Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy present an award? Oh my God, I hope so. Oh, I would love that. He should have come out and stopped Warren Beatty from saying the wrong award. Since canonically Dick Tracy and Warren Beatty exist in the same world but are separate people, as we learned from the Dick Tracy special. Check out my Dick Tracy special review if you're totally lost. Question, should they have kept the best popular movie category? I have mixed feelings on that because I kind of don't hate it as much as people say they do. I think, though, if there's the best popular movie category, what I would do is say it's a kind of like a trapdoor thing where whatever gets nominated, and then the next 5 highest grossing things get in there. But I think people really hated it, and there was a lot of stuff in there, so yeah. Wait, what? Oh, why didn't Monster Trucks ever win any Oscars? It was too good. Cornbread asks, thoughts about you always being in between movie craps for Spider-Verse and Mario? Oh, that's true. I think... Well, I know I'm going to see Mario, and I know I'm going to see... I don't know. I don't know why that happens. That does happen a lot. Oh, well. Question, what happened to the Amsterdam sweep? I don't know. I don't know. Babylon took too many of those nominations for him. Austin, I've been getting into Red Bull. What do you prefer in terms of Red Bull? I used to go with sugar free because it worked a little better. So that's what. At a certain point, you're like, I feel gross. So it's you're a young kid, you can do that. But I recommend the rock if you can find the rock one, the rocks one. I actually don't feel too horrible. This as well as Accelerate. Some cheap energy drink should really sponsor me. I would proudly show your cans. Just send me like a box. That'd be fine. My wife would be annoyed, but it'd be fine. What if Two Less Tea is actually a good movie? I don't know M Blood Tea. I don't know if it's. I've heard it's a good movie, and I'm fine with it doing it. I just think she found a better marketing thing, and we don't know if Till would have gotten a nomination. That was just everyone's theory, but so we'll see. Nathaniel Foga, favorite wild moments that happened at the Oscars besides last year. I mean the wrong movie thing, I think, would definitely be my pick there. That's pretty hard to ignore. Blonde winning best female actress. I think Blonde had the luck of Andrea Riseborough happening because almost everybody like a couple of weeks later was like, wait, Blonde? What the fuck? Like I think she took the bullet for Ana de Armas, so good for them. Can you do an impression of the typical Oscar? The typical Oscar? I guess they're just standing like this. I don't know. Question: do you ever see a day where a video game movie could be nominated or let alone win an Oscar? I think that could happen. I don't know if it would happen with Mario. I could see a Mario nomination. I don't know what this year's going to be like in animation. I can see that happening. I don't know about Best Picture necessarily right now. It would depend on what it is. I think studios would have to, and video game publishers who are often far too involved, I think would have to let there be some leeway artistically for that to happen. And if they're just going to look at it as another product in terms of their line, I don't know if that'll happen necessarily right now. But I can see that happening eventually. But current crop, I don't see it. But we'll see. Maybe the Mario movie will be that good, but I have not seen that movie yet, so I cannot say. Okay, where... Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, Cornbread asks, with Arcane, Netflix show Puss in Boots 2 and the new TMNT, what's the estimated time between Losers Online decides Spider-Verse inspired movie is the next CalArt style? I'm sure that's happening soon. Is the Oscars just Diet Indie Spirit Awards, or is Indie Spirit Awards Diet Oscars? The Indie Spirit Awards is Diet Oscars, and they have TV awards now. They're like the Golden Globes, I think. I guess this is when I went after the April O'Neil thing. How old were you when your voice cracked? Like 13 or 12. Blood T, does Oscar bait even, aside like this voice when I was like pretty young, does Oscar bait mean anything anymore? Even adult-oriented movies with sincere filmmaking gets called Oscar baity, and is that the Oscars' fault? I think Oscar bait, I think, well, here's the thing, is like so many of the Oscar-nominated movies were like really well seen and on Netflix and like huge hits. So it's like, I don't agree with this. Like, does Oscar bait mean anything anymore? And you have like Top Gun and Avatar and Elvis and like A24's highest grossing movie are nominated. And it's like, sure, The Fabelmans and Tar didn't make, and Triangle of Sadness and Women Talking, that's 4. But it's like everything else is pretty readily available for the public. So I don't know if like this is the best year to be debating that. I think you could actually argue, based on the films they nominated, that they're a little better at understanding what matters. They still nominate obscure stuff or stuff that people aren't seeing, but I still think there's a place for that because people will check that out. That's the sort of point of the whole thing. But I don't think it was as bad, but I don't know if like The Fabelmans was the movie that I think the public was super excited about, or Tar, to be honest. What's the worst instance of a true fan complaining that they're just a fair weather fan besides TMNT? I would say everything with Captain Marvel a couple years ago. Most of the Marvel stuff went after your complaints, and I'm like, but that happened in the comic, you know what I mean? So we're running out of time. Let's do some people who I don't know if I've done a not plausible question. So if you had to compete for an Oscar, which category would you be strongest at? Like best documentary short? I don't know. I don't really understand that. one. I don't understand that category, so I've always thought like maybe I get in there. What if Green Book was a good movie? Yeah. What if pigs could fly? I don't know. It's not a good movie. What if was the autobiography form season directors like The Fablemans and Belfast a misfire trend so far? Huh. That's a good question, Emily T. I think the problem with it is they're both. I don't know like what they're really saying with it. Like Scorsese did that with Hugo, not with his own bullshit. You know what I mean? And I think these guys like believe in their own bullshit, and I think that hurts it a little bit. Question, last one. Is Far Side now way better than Dilbert? Have you ever had Dilbert? So the Dilbert thing, I used to read Dilbert when I was a kid, and I never worked in an office. And then when you work in an office, Dilbert's not funny. Because you're like, oh, this is just an office. This sucks. And it's not like the show The Office or a sitcom in The Office. It's just like a bad thing. And then like I got out of it. I used to have Dogbert and everything, and Ian would make fun of me. He's like, that comic is stupid. But I remember like watching a cartoon. But I've talked to other friends in high school, and we watched the cartoon, and then we had to get jobs. We tried to rewatch it, and we're like, this show sucks. So I think it like loses any appeal it had for me. Died so long ago. I mean, he's a racist. Like whatever. Fuck that guy. I don't really care. I guess Zane Powers is about Dilbert. I guess people want to be talking about Dilbert. Okay. Got any acne? I hope not. What if Pixels could fly? I don't know. Favorite episode of season 2 of What If? What if Green Book was a good movie? Season 2 of What If come out? I don't even know. All right. I think we're at the end of this. Come back next Monday. I'm going to be wearing a suit. We're going to do the Oscars thing. As for this week, it's going to be a little different. Tomorrow, I guess it's been so long and stuff, but tomorrow will be the movie review vote winner. I think I sort of let it slip what it was, but that'll be tomorrow, the last winner, at least, from like January. Wednesday, I don't think there'll be anything. A cool one about Kiwi Kwan of YouTube short or TikTok or whatever, and then My Year of Dicks and Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then the Oscars. So have a good Oscars. Just have a good time. Have some people over. Buy Marley. Have a pizza. Chill out with it. Don't take it too seriously. Talk to your friends. Tweet during it, and just chill. And thank you for being here. Thank you all for your support. Sorry it's been not as many streams as I would like. Life happens, but I really appreciate all your support and everything you guys do for me. And thank you very much. So I will see you all next time. Peace out. Accelerate, and happy Oscars, and have a good night. All right, bye.